get the snake. Ooh, I'm a snake. You gotta get the snake, Mish. I'm a scary nun. Ooh, got scary, spooky ass demons. Ooh, shit. I will defeat the nun with my priesting powers. I will defeat it once and for all. Watch me. Ah, shit, I got buried alive.
Bruh. Bruh.
Ooh, we got some spooky ass demons. Ooh.
Bruh.
The power of Jesus compels you. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I really couldn't think of a good skit for this because this movie was actually really good, so, oh well, it gives me ample opportunity to play this song. That's how you make a religious horror movie. Yeah, boy! Ah, fuck, shit. I fucking tripped. Oh god. I saw The Nun, and it was fantastic. It was actually really, really good. We did it, boys. We finally got a good horror movie. It's very good. It's good. Ah, what do you expect? It's The Conjuring, of course it's gonna be good. By the way, total side note real quick. The trailers for this movie were fantastic, and before anyone asks, yes, I will be reviewing Hellfest when it comes out in a couple weeks. At least a couple weeks when I'm recording this. It looks like something right up my alley, and I know a lot of people are just like, yo man, this looks like your type of film. It's a freaking evil circus amusement park, and there are dead bodies being hung on the ceiling. Blah, blah, blah. I'll get to it. Also, I am very excited for Overlord. It looks fantastic. It looks like something that I've been wanting to see in a horror movie for a long, long time. I'm just excited. Finally, maybe we might get some good, or at least some decent horror movies, considering the terrible, terrible start of this past couple months. So normally with my reviews, I tend to just give a completely spoiler-filled, full analysis of the entire film, but with this one, I'm only gonna give, like, very, very minimal spoilers. I'm probably just gonna bring up maybe a couple scenes that I thought were very, prominent and very interesting to bring up, because this film is fascinating. It was extremely fascinating to watch. Every scene, I was expecting something stupid to happen or expecting something dumb to happen. It proved me wrong in an instant. And it did a lot of things that I was really happy that it did. Because I wish a lot of films would explore that territory, and I hope films in the future will continue the trends that it did with this film. Allow me to explain. Most, if not all, of the scares in this film just rely on a figure just walking through a hallway and disappearing in the next frame. It got really boring at some points, but then there were some where I thought they were actually really, really good. Like, say like two people were walking in a room and then there's like this very shady figure just standing there and you're expecting like it to completely disappear out of frame. It doesn't do that. They actually allow the figure to stay in place and for the characters to actually analyze it and soak it in, and even allow the figure to speak and interact with the characters instead of just having them poof in and out of the room and just, you know, had it be like a very cheap scare that doesn't really go anywhere. I've always just been fascinated with the idea of like, if a figure disappeared, where would it go? And if a person was actually seeing it, would they interact with it or like try to see what they can do with it. And there's a lot of moments like that. It's really cool. It's very cool how they were able to actually have the character soak in the dark, ominous figure or whatever the hell else is in the room and actually have it stay there without it just disappearing and then cutting to the next scene. Because a lot of movies nowadays have that trend of like, oh, is it there? Nope, it's actually over there. Oh, it's not actually there at all. You're just crazy because jump scare, you know? I don't know if that made any sense because, again, I'm like trying not to spoil too much of it, but if you've seen the film or at least understand like the trend in horror movies that I'm talking about, then you'll get it. I went to see this movie with the same friend that I went to go see Truth or Dare with. We were ready to tear this film apart for the sheer fact of the context of the situation, because the beginning of the film seemed like it was gonna be dead on arrival, you know, pun intended. With the little to no context that there really was this sort of flaw with how the church itself that this whole place, you know, the whole story takes place in, didn't really seem to make that much sense. For example, there's a door in the attic that says God ends here. There's crosses literally all over the hallway. It's more dark and ominous and stuff like that. And the way that the opening ends with one of the nuns, I won't say any more than that. It really does kind of give like a what the hell even is going on here. Like this is like some sort of satanic, not really pure sort of place. It does seem that there is something going on here, but it also seems like this is something we're supposed to believe in, but it actually explained it pretty damn well. And I was really floored by it. Like, it went from like, okay, this is gonna be like historically inaccurate, this is gonna be really dumb, to actually explaining everything in detail on why shit was acting the way it was. And the characters were actually pretty damn good, except for the priest guy. There's this priest, I don't really remember his name. He was so forgettable throughout the entire film. He was not really pointless, I would say. He was just useless because every time he tried to help, he would either get pushed aside by the other characters in the film, one of them who is not a religious figure, or he would just get himself into trouble because he was an idiot. So, if you guys really want to see a historically accurate religious-based horror film, if you're a religious nerd like me, of course, and you want to get like that same feeling of watching Conjuring 1 and 2, then I really, really suggest go seeing this or renting it or doing whatever the hell you want, because this film is very worth watching more than once, because it's so fascinating and cool, and the makeup was fantastic, and literally everything about this film was just perfect. I was shocked. I was literally shocked to the bone on how well this film was made. Now, I hate to leave this video really short because this film was so good. I barely have anything to say if a film is good because I don't want to spoil it for everybody. I wanted to, like, give this video an entire section just dedicated to my opinions on the Conjuring series as a whole, and I will be giving a lot of spoilers if you haven't really seen any of the movies, which includes The Nun, so if you haven't seen it, go see it. For now, I'm just gonna go into spoiler territory because I really just want to give my opinion on this real quick. First thing, I can't call this the Conjuring universe. It's so dumb. I get that, you know, the whole movie market nowadays is based on, like, movies being correlated in a quote-unquote universe because, you know, Marvel and DC to a point, but if this was any other, like, horror universe, fictional-based thing, I would be okay with it. But these movies are fictionalized events based on real ghost stories by the Warrens. And I really don't understand how that could be a quote-unquote universe if it's actually based on something that had happened in real life. So that's why I just prefer calling it a series, because it's not really a universe. It can't really be a universe if you have it based on something that's based on real life. I don't get that logic. But, you know, that's just marketing in a nutshell. They want to make sure that people can be, like, intertwined with each other with the universes of whatever the hell. Conjuring 1 and 2 definitely are probably one of my favorite horror films of all time. The first one, when I saw it in theaters, it was scary. Like, I normally don't get freaked out by ghosts that often, considering, you know, Paranormal Activity and all that type of crap that was coming out at the time, because, you know, we can't have Saw anymore, at least until Jigsaw came out, actually. Never mind that. But the way that it was structured and the way that it was, like, settled from day one was spectacular. And Conjuring 2, it's definitely not as good as the first one. Definitely could have been a lot better. It was definitely a ride. It was a thrill ride of a ghost story, which I'm actually really into. As for, yes, as I pointed out several times, I hate the Annabelle films. Actually, unpopular opinion time, I actually hate the design of Annabelle even in the first Conjuring movie. Yeah, I know, total shock. This is coming from the person who likes puppets. But yes, I actually really dislike Annabelle quite a bit, because I know the original story of Annabelle, because it's such a fascinating story, you know, same thing with like Robert the Doll and stuff like that. But I just can't get past the design, I can't get past the way it operates, I can't get past the logic Annabelle 1 and 2 had. It was just not worth the time and effort, considering, like, I don't know if it is my personal bias because I know the original Annabelle, like, story, at least from, you know, the basics, I guess, but some of the stuff they added were just, like, way too extreme and way too out there for me to take seriously, and it was way too confusing. So I was getting really, really worried for this series because you have something as basic as a haunted doll and you turn it into such a disgusting mess with demon possession involved. How are you going to deal with all the other ghosts from the Warren household? I guess that's what it's called, a household? But, like, what are you going to do with all the other ghost stories and all the other legends that are in that legacy? I'm just hoping that it'll be as good as The Nun, because The Nun was shockingly amazing, and even though, like, it was hard for me to connect the dots considering it was technically a prequel to the whole, you know, thing, because I guess it was Annabelle 1, Annabelle 2, then The Nun, and then Conjuring 1 and 2, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of videos about it, you can easily just search it on YouTube if you haven't seen it, but I honestly hope that if they continue to make movies for the Conjuring series that it will be at least a lot cleaner, like The Nun and the first and second Conjuring movies, because if we end up getting, like, 5 more movies that are, like, Annabelle level stupid, but then we get one gem, it's not really going to be worth my time, in my opinion, because it's like it's like with the Saw movies, you have 1 and 2, and possibly 3 that were actually really, really good, and then you have like all those middle ones that are like, it's okay, the traps are nice, but then you just have that one gem that's like surprisingly good. Is it really worth just sitting through all those movies just to get to the good gems? If that makes sense? I don't know. But overall, I'm just hoping that if they decide to make more movies based on The Conjuring, which I'll be shocked if they do, because there's only so many ghost stories that you can make before people are just like, I'm over it, this is too much. But, I don't know, maybe we'll get something good. Maybe, I'm just hoping, because The Nun was fantastic. I just really, really hope that we get something that's, like, worthwhile and stop getting Annabelle movies, because if I swear to God, if I get another Annabelle movie, I'm going to literally grab that doll from Hollywood, bash its head open, light it on fire, kick it into the curb, and direct a movie myself, because I can't stand the doll anymore. I'm done with the doll. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my little ramble about the Conjuring series and my small review of The Nun. If you have any suggestions on anything in all horror, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next time.